And now, friends, lights, camera, action, roll them as we welcome back to talkSPORT Extra Time, our main man each and every Friday when it comes to all matters movie-related, the one and only Van Connor, with, between us, half a dozen big screen recommendations, Freeview for the small screen in your front room. Good morning, Van, and how's your week been?
Well, good morning to you as well, Mr. Ross. My week's been pretty good, actually. Great movies out there as always. Looking forward to getting cinematic on our sofas with you as always.
Brilliant stuff, and you're starting with a good film for tonight, I think, a kind of campaigning film, BBC 2, 11 tonight. Tell us about Selma, please.
Well, so Selma, this was a would-be Oscar contender from several years back, directed by Ava DuVernay and starring David Oyelowo as none other than Martin Luther King. This is based on the story of the march through Selma, the civil rights march that became a watershed moment. This was, as we say, was intended as something of an Oscar contender, and it was regarded as such through that award season. It was screened for critics. It was shown quite widely through Black History Month as well that year, through February that year, and then mysteriously, as you know, we did Oscar night together that year, and it mysteriously never appeared. No. It has come up in the news rather recently as well for reasons relating specifically to this.
Okay, so we've got a clip, I think, have you, for us?
So I've got a clip for you. This is just one of many rousing moments by Oyelowo as Martin Luther King.
Here we go.
As long as I am unable to exercise my constitutional right to vote, I do not have command of my own life. I cannot determine my own destiny, for it is determined for me by people who would rather see me suffer than succeed. Those that have gone before us say, no more, no more. That means protest, that means march, that means disturb the peace, that means jail, that means risk, and that is hard. We will not wait any longer. Give us the vote. That's right. No more. We're not asking, we're demanding. Give us the vote.
And it reminds you what an amazing orator Dr. Martin Luther King was. I mean, I think this is a great film. You're right, underrated by the Oscar, by the Academy, but nothing new there, is there? Now, I've got something before that. It's a BBC night tonight for us. You've gone BBC 2 with Selma. I've gone just before your selection, which was 11:20 tonight. I've gone 10:45, BBC 1. It's from 2005, and I know you like this film as well. Made an awful lot of money. I think it cost $132 million, but it made over $600 million. It's the Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise, with a bit of Tim Robbins and Dakota Fanning, War of the Worlds. And I know you know a bit about the behind the scenes on this one, because it marked a bit of a kind of watershed moment for Steven Spielberg and Paramount, didn't it?
It did. This was during the time in which DreamWorks was operating under the Paramount banner. It was always a very frosty relationship. They would wind up upping sticks later on and moving over to Universal. And DreamWorks, you know, have something of a storied history of being distributed with different companies, but they never particularly got on with Paramount. And this movie marked one of those turning points. I know it also represented a turning point in the relationship between star Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg, who'd worked together for the first time a few years earlier on another science fiction movie I know you're quite a fan of, Minority Report.
Oh, that's a great film, I think. A great film, based on a Philip K. Dick sort of novella called The Minority Report. It's weird, because H.G. Wells wrote The War of the Worlds, Herbert George. Do you know what the K stands for in Philip K. Dick?
Do you know, actually, I don't. That's something I've never known, would you believe?
It's an odd name, Kindred. Philip Kindred Dick. Strange, isn't it? So, but I do love, I mean, it's a great movie. They're set in modern days, so it's not like the Edwardian H.G. Wells, set in America, of course. And Tom Cruise, I mean, you know, he's not really believable to me as a blue-collar worker, because the charisma just crackles out of him. But a great sci-fi film, this.
Absolutely, and I think you, like I, obviously rather know the iconic H.G. Wells version. I think, especially in this country, we have it rather hammered into us about the iconic radio version with Orson Welles. Yeah. This version, written primarily by Josh Friedman, but given a script pass by David Cope, who's something of a go-to script doctor for Spielberg anyway. Has written on the Indiana Jones movies, Jurassic Park, things like that. Worked with George Lucas, etc. I think still ranks as the 9th most successful screenwriter of all time. This is a very different interpretation in that, for one thing, this is a character who's on the outside of the story rather than being intimately involved in, saving the world and being involved in fighting these aliens. This is as you say, a blue-collar worker who's simply just trying to get by on the fringes of this story of an alien invasion of the planet.
And what I love about this is, blink and you'll miss it, but Gene Barry turns up in it, Gene, who was the star of the 1953 version directed by George Pal. He was known from things like Burke's Law, which was on Talking Pictures TV. I love this film. It is War of the Worlds. It's tonight from 2005 on BBC One, 10:45. And here, my friends, it's the trailer.
They've been planning this for a million years. And these are only the first. They'll keep coming.
Am I ever going to see Mom again in my life?
With my son! I know you want to fight. I know it seems like you have to, but you don't. You don't!
This is not a war. This is an extermination.
Wow, this is not a war, it's an extermination. That should have been on the posters. Maybe it was. Maybe it was on the posters. And what have you got for us on Saturday, for tomorrow? You've got an animated film, I think, Van.
Absolutely. This is a very strange one. This is a Disney animated film from, again, about 2015. And it's actually, would you believe, a Disney animated feature adaptation of a little-known Marvel comic by Man of Action. So Big Hero 6 takes place in a city called San Francisco, which is a sort of homogenized version of San Francisco and Tokyo, as the title would suggest.
With a nice eye to the Far Eastern market, then, no doubt.
Quite. Which is very, very handy when you're trying to distribute a film in the 21st century, would you believe?
Great stuff. And what's the setup of it? Who is Big Hero 6?
So Big Hero 6 refers to a team that comes together when a young boy genius named Hero sets out to solve the mystery around the accidental death of his older brother. And one of his team is Baymax, a large, white, inflatable medical droid, voiced by Scott Adkins from 30 Rock.
Oh, right.
And he remanufactures Baymax into a would-be superhero ass-kicking machine, utilizing a team made up of his late brother's fellow science students, and each one has their own ability, their own power that they have manufactured using their scientific ability, and they set out to save San Francisco from a villain in a kabuki mask and his army of nanobots.
I must say, this film passed me by completely, but I'm loving the sound of it. So it's Big Hero 6. It's on tomorrow, BBC One, right after the first version of Final Score. It's 5:20, BBC One, and you've got a clip for us, Van.
Indeed, let's have a clip. This is Baymax and Hero swinging into action.
As long as we remember him. It still hurts.
I see no evidence of physical injury.
It's a different kind of hurt.
You are my patient. I would like to help.
You can't fix this one, buddy. What are you doing?
I am downloading a database on personal loss. Database downloaded. Treatments include contact with friends and loved ones. I am contacting them now.
No. I don't do
Your
that.
Your friends have been contacted.
Unbelievable. Now what are you doing?
Other treatments include compassion and physical reassurance.
I'm okay, really.
You will be all right. There.
Thanks, Baymax.
I mean, that does sound great. I've never seen this film. I'm going to make sure I set the record for that tomorrow afternoon, 5:20. Brilliant stuff on BBC One. Now, as you know, I love cowboy films. I love westerns. I also love the Carry On movies. Guess what I've got going for me tomorrow afternoon? It's 1 o'clock. It's ITV3. It was the first Carry On film that featured those legends, Peter Butterworth and Bernard Bresslaw. It's from 1965. I mean, you've got Sid James in Stodge City, and he plays the Rumpo Kid. There's also Jim Dale as Marshal P. Nutt, who is in fact a sanitary engineer sent to fix the town's lavatories, who gets mistaken for the incoming marshal. It's Carry On Cowboy. It's 1 p.m. If you like double entendres, I'll give you one. Here's the trailer.
Many of the greatest films of all time have had as their background that vast, lawless territory known as the Wild West. Yahoo! Many magnificent spectacles, many epic stories have come from this fabulous land. But this is Carry On Cowboy.
I wonder what they wanted.
I thought I heard shots just now. It's probably just a horse backfiring.
Sidney James as the notorious Rumpo Kid.
I am the mayor.
You better keep away from my horse. You ain't seen a mayor in 3 weeks.
Kenneth Williams as the mayor of Stodge City. Jim Dale as Marshal P. Nutt, the sanitary engineer they sent to clean up Stodge City. Charles Hawtrey as the Indian chief, Big Heap.
floor to the pale-faces!
This is my new squaw, Kitty Cater. I bought her for 2 buffalo skins.
How? Never mind how. Where?
I mean, I could see Rufus and Sam laughing away despite themselves through the glass there. This is great nonsense. It's quintessentially British. It's very much of its era, of course, but it's ITV3 tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. from 1965. I mean, it's interesting because Kenneth Williams was always rather sneery fan about the Carry On film, but in his diary, this was the only one he really enjoyed, and I'm quoting from memory, but I think he said, Carry On Cowboy, a success on every level, because they also get the chance to kind of act in it. And Sid James loved it because he always wanted to make a cowboy film. A great old laugh, this movie, isn't it?
Would you believe this is the only one of all the Carry On films I can think of that I haven't actually seen? But
you've got a
I'm
treat
not
in
shocked
store,
at
mate.
all
You have
that
got
you
a
would pick
treat
this one.
You've got a treat in store tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock, ITV3, and I'll keep going now because you're going to win with your big recommendation for Sunday. But I've got for Sunday afternoon, evening, 6:45 from the year, it's only about 5-6 years ago, 2014, the film about Alan Turing and Bletchley Park and the work that was done on the computers to crack the Enigma machines from the Nazis was released. It's called The Imitation Game. The title comes... It's slightly odd. They don't really refer to this, I think, in the film. I can't remember if they do, but in 1950, Alan Turing, who had a very troubled life, he was a gay man when it was still illegal, he had other concerns, problems in his life, he wrote a paper called Computing Machinery and Intelligence, and he tried to answer the question, can machines think? And his conclusion was, no, they can't, but they can play the imitation game, which is such a fantastic answer, isn't it, don't you think? Did you like this film, Van?
I'm a very, very big fan of this film. I think it's one of those films that as soon as you see it, sort of the concept on paper, the fact that it stars Benedict Cumberbatch seems like the most obvious piece of casting you can possibly think of. I think also that Keira Knightley's terrific in this as well, and I believe Matthew Good, is in there as well from Watchmen and Leap Year, but a great movie. I actually live just next to Bletchley still to this day.
Oh, right, brilliant stuff. We've also got Mark Strong in the cast, Charles Dance and Rory Kinnear. It's The Imitation Game. It's Sunday afternoon, evening, 6:45 on Film 4. Here comes the trailer.
Mr. Turing, do you know how many British servicemen have died because of Enigma?
No, I don't.
3. While we've been having this conversation. Oh, look, there's another. I rather hope he didn't have a family. This war Commander Deniston's been going on about. We're not winning it. Break the code, at least we have a chance. Shall we leave the children alone with their new toy?
It's a great film, this, because it's also the kind of film actors love, because quite a lot of long speeches, but not a huge amount of action. So that's my recommendation for Sunday, my third and final recommendation. It's The Imitation Game, Sunday afternoon, evening, 6:45 on Film 4. And you've got something rather special for us to end with a kind of thought-provoking laugh, I think, Van Connor.
Very much so. So based on the novel of the same name by Danny Wallace, this was, I believe, quite a bit successful novel as well. This is Yes Man from 2008, starring Jim Carrey and directed by Peyton Reed, who gave us Bring It On prior to this, and would go on to join the Marvel Universe nearly a decade later with the Ant-Man series. And the basic premise is Jim Carrey is a loan officer in a bank who really kind of hates his life, but goes to a seminar and is taught that he can actually improve his life if he simply exacts a policy of answering yes to everything. And as you can imagine, wacky hijinks in the hands of Jim Carrey will ensue, as this clip featuring the one and only General Zod himself, Terrence Stamp, will demonstrate.
So it's ITV2, it's Sunday afternoon, evening, 6:55, it's Yes Man, here we go.
We're gonna make a covenant, Carl. Do you want to make a covenant? The word is yes, Carl.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Once you leave this building, every time an opportunity presents itself, no matter what it is, you will say yes.
Yes! 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 Yes!
What if I say the other word?
You'll be making a promise to yourself. And when you break a promise to yourself, things can get a little dicey. What do you say, Carl? You ready to make a covenant? Yes?
Yes!
Yes?
Yes!
Again.
Yes!
Say it again.
Yes! Make me believe it! Yes! Yes! Yes!
Jim Carrey, they're in danger of making a complete cult of himself, and I said that very carefully indeed. Final movie, this kind of slipped under the radar a bit, though, didn't it, when it came out, I think?
It did. It was a decent financial success. I think by the time we'd gotten to this movie in 2008, we hadn't had a straight-up old-school Jim Carrey comedy in a good long while. And this is a time when 3D cinema had started to rise up. It's a very different era in cinema. There were a lot of cheap horror movies. Superhero movies had become a thing by that point as well. So this was a very throwback kind of a picture, especially, like I say, in 2008.
Brilliant stuff there. And also, you and Rebecca Perfect, who joins us this Monday, of course, for the Entertainment and Tech Roundup, you do a great movie review podcast together. Tell us about that.
Yes, the off-screen show every Friday morning on podcast platforms, in which we look at new movies arriving on digital for the following week, movies on Freeview every night for the following week as well, and on DVD and on streaming. I'm pleased to say this week we do get the pleasure of talking about a documentary about the life of Danny Trejo, as weird as that sounds.
Brilliant stuff. And also, for those who feel they haven't got time, you compress your movie knowledge and TV knowledge into 2 minutes, don't you? What can you achieve in 120 seconds, and where can we find that, Van?
You can find 2-minute movies and 2-minute telly on all good podcast platforms. I spearhead 2-minute movies. My good friend Sarah Phelan spearheads 2-minute telly. She's got new reviews out there at the moment for The Great and The Order. I've got reviews out at the moment for The Five Bloods. It's just a good time in 120 seconds. Believe it or not, it turns out you can get an awful lot done in just 2 minutes.
Brilliant stuff. Well, we've achieved a lot in just under 10 minutes. That was me and Van Conner. Is back with us next Friday, of course, on talkSPORT Extra Time. More from us after this, and that's a wrap.
Football in